Hey everybody, how's it going? I just want to do a quick video. Well, it might be quick. I start to ramble on sometime, but I wanted to do a video for beginning canine trappers or just beginning trappers in general on my thoughts on lures and baits and urines, etc. In this video, I'm going to cover a couple different topics. I want to show some of the lures and baits that I consider somewhat essential for getting started, and then some extra lures and baits that might help you early season and late season. And then I'm going to show some of the lures and baits that I've never tried before, some new stuff basically that I'm trying on the line this year. I got my gloves on because some of these lures are pretty powerful and I'm outside because they're pretty powerful. My wife's like, nah, you ain't bringing that stuff inside. So let's get started here. I'm going to first cover some of what I think are essential lures and baits to begin canine trapping, or just trapping in general, really. If you're targeting multiple canine species such as like gray fox, red fox, and coyotes, which I'm after, a good middle of the road set of lures to have is you want to have a good gland lure, in my opinion, some type of like a type of curiosity lure, and half decent bait, not half decent, the best quality bait you can get, in a high quality urine. Now my urine and the urine that I pick and the gland lure that I pick are based on multiple species for me. If you were just targeting one specific species, such as coyotes or red fox or gray fox for that matter, you might want to go to a different type of a gland lure and urine. For multiple species, I think the red gland lures are a good middle of the road. And if you want my opinion, and I get no endorsements, trust me, from anybody, but I've used these a little bit in the past. My brother used them a lot. The night owl lures and the red gland night owl lure, the XLL, really good gland lure to pick. Like I said, I'm sure they make a coyote gland lure. At least I think they would. If you want to just go for a straight coyote gland lure. And for my urine, I got some from Lisa Roussat at the Pennsylvania Trappers Convention. And for all the dudes that were down there that said hey and what's up and stuff and recognized me, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I got some red gland, not red gland, but red fox urine from him. Now a good half decent curiosity lure. I call these curiosity lures anyways. Is Bounty Hunter by Fox Hollow and Violator 7 from Cavens. They're both, I think they're sort of similar, and the one thing, these are both maybe a year or two old. They had some skunk smell to them. That sort of has worn off of these. I'll use these early as is, and then a little later I might add some couple drops of skunk essence to these. So we got our gland lure, we got our urine, we got a little type of curiosity lure, and some baits. Now I've used a bunch of different types of baits and stuff, but these seem to be my go-to. Is Cavens Predator Bait Plus, and Cavens, this is one I started trying last year and I think is really good stuff, is Cavens Terminator Bait. It's sort of like almost like a pasty type bait, and it'll catch about everything. Both of these will catch about everything. There's no magic bait to where you can keep possums out of your sets. If somebody says they got it, they're probably full of it. So those two, all of these I highly recommend, these lures and baits. And this is plenty to get started with. You don't want to get, if you're just starting out, don't make it too confusing. Keep it simple. So and as far as like how much lure do you use at a set, how much bait do you use, there's some people, there's both sides of the spectrum. Some people say just use a tiny bit, because if you use too much, the canine will smell it from a distance and then they won't come investigate your set. They'll know it's already there. I think you want, if your bait doesn't draw them in and make them want it, or if your lure doesn't draw them in and make them want to investigate, I mean, you want them there and trying to dig this stuff up, really. So I don't use a lot to start with. Some people do, some top trappers do, some don't. I don't think you could really over lure. I mean, except for wasting money. I mean, if you want to dump, if you got tons of money, you want to dump a bunch of lure out of the set, go ahead. I I don't think it's going to reduce, I don't think it would reduce your catch, because when you make a catch with a canine, like a coyote or a gray fox or red fox or whatever, the whole place reeks. I mean, you could dump you would have to dump out a whole ounce of lure and half a pint of urine and spread all over, and to get the same smell effect going on there. And you can still make catches there. Actually, a lot of times your catches go up after you do a remake on a catch circle. So she has some things will shy away from catch circles. That's why you put another set on the outside of it. But I just use minimal amounts of lure just for money's sakes, you know. I mean, these are like $7 a jar. I don't want to dump out $7 every time I'm making a set. You can do it for a few cents. But if you got lots of money, you want to use lots of lure, give it a try. I don't know. It might work for you. Now on to some other types of lures that you might want to try out. Like these are, like I said, these are fine. I mean, I could go through the whole season with these, but I try all kinds of stuff. So early season, sometimes you want to try, if you're going to start out real early season, a nice mild lure, which this is a really nice mild lure. Another one by Night Owl Lures, Red Tornado. It's just a mild food-based lure. This is a pretty old bottle too. My brother gave me this, and it still smells exactly the same. So it's never lost any of the smell, but it's just a really mild, it's actually half pleasant smelling. So that'd be a good early season one. And then there's late season where you want to try to draw an animal in. And like in this bottle here, there's a bottle of Caven's Gusto in here. That's got some serious kick to it. So, and I've noticed an uptick in, especially one year when I started, the first year I tried to use this, and I had an uptick in catches when I started using this. There's a bunch of different ones of these. I've used Carmen's Canine Call. I got some of that here. Some of the labels have worn off of these. I believe one of these two. Here's some Canine Call right here by Carmen's. I've used this. This is pretty effective. And some of the newer lures that I'm trying out, and some of them, this one here is a long distance call lure by Lisa Roussat, Fatal Breath. And this one here is the one I think that has a lot of punch to it. I haven't opened it yet, but one of these new lures is really, really strong, and I think it's this one right here. And I'm also going to try some All Predator Temptation lure. I'm thinking that this might fall in the same category, like a Violator 7 maybe. I'm not sure, haven't used it yet. And I'm also going to target, as far as new stuff, I'm going to target more raccoons this year. So I got some Fox Hollow, what's this called? Fox Hollow Outlaw raccoon lure. So that's some of the newer stuff I'm going to try. These ones right here by Lisa Roussat, and then this raccoon lure. Lisa Roussat, his bait, I got some Fatal Step bait from him. He's one of the top coyote catchers. I mean, when you can make your living off of fur harvesting and making lures and stuff, you got to be good. So I'm going to give some of his stuff a shot, and I'll let you know how they work out. So, oh yeah, one more thing. As far as Lisa Roussat, I was watching him down at the Trappers Convention, and I've had this happen a lot. If you want to try sheep's wool, I used to get a lot of my sheep's wool dug out of my dirt holes and just scattered all around. And this, what he said, makes a lot of sense to me, is that if you're having that happen, a lot of times it's mice. So what I'm going to do with sheep's wool, it's an excellent thing for a bait holder and for a lure holder and stuff. I'm only going to use that this year, like up underneath a rock or a log where I can have some weight on it, where a mouse would have a lot of difficulty getting it out of there. So as far as stuff down the hole, I'm just going to put bait and lure down the hole and stuff. Again, how much do you use? I mean, usually, like if I'm doing a gland lure or something, I just dip a stick in there and use a small stick or something. For a bait, now I used to just take a bait and rub some sheep's wool in it and shove that down the hole, but I'm probably just gonna be taking a stick and doing the same thing, putting a little bit of stick, whatever I can get on a stick, and shoving down the hole with the bait this year. So, and how often do you re-lure? I took my dog out to pull stakes this year, like it must have been like in March or early April, and she could still smell some of my sets. It didn't draw her into them because I was there pulling a stake out, but she was still sniffing around and smelling. She could smell something there. I could just tell. So if your sets aren't messed with, if your trap's not set off, if it hasn't rained for a while, just leave them alone. That smell will be there, and the canines will smell it, and raccoons will still smell it. I mean, I've caught raccoons, a couple of raccoons I caught last year. The sets I caught them in, they had been sitting there forever, and then it poured down rain on them a couple of times, but I still caught raccoons in them. So the smells will still be there. But I mean, if it goes for quite a while, a week or so, no catches, go up and throw a little bit of extra lure, urine on it, but just don't mess with it. Don't start tinkering around. Get in there and get out and get it done with. If it pours down rain for a few days and then it dries up, go add some lure or urine to it. Don't mess with your sets a whole lot though. So that's my thoughts on lures and urines and everything. If you have any different thoughts or comments or questions, please leave them. If you liked my video and you want to subscribe to my channel, click subscribe or click the like button on my video. If you click subscribe and the little bell pops up, if you click that, basically what that'll do is give you a notification of any time I put out a new video. And I hope to have some decent videos from On the Line this year. If I rambled on too long here, I apologize, but just wanted to cover all the bases I thought that were important for anybody wanting to try to start out canine trapping or trapping in general. Alright, thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you on the line this year.